Hey guys, welcome to Christina Cakes It. I'm Christina and today I'm making a wafer paper butterfly cake. So I actually made a butterfly cake for my channel last year and I just was not happy with how it turned out. And so I decided to try a different technique using wafer paper, and I love how the butterflies look. And the inspiration for this cake was my husband and I actually had the chance to go to Costa Rica, and they have a beautiful cloud forest there. And they also have a butterfly sanctuary, and it was amazing. There are like so many butterflies, and one of my favorites were these like bright blue butterflies that were everywhere. And so I knew I was gonna want to create a cake that was inspired by all the butterflies. So as you guys can see, I already have my cake that's been frosted and crumb coated, ready to go. The focus is going to be the bright blue butterflies, and so I wanted to keep this cake like completely white for that contrast. And you guys can see I already made a ton of these ahead of time. So let me show you exactly how I did this. So I am using wafer paper or rice paper, it's the same thing, and I will link where I got these. I got a bunch of sheets on Amazon. I used them also for my swan cake. I used them in my fall leaf cake as well. So the thing about wafer paper is you can't get it wet or it completely becomes like crunchy, and so you kind of have to like work with problem solve that. And so what we're gonna do to start is I'm actually just going to trace the butterfly outline. I'm going to trace a few of these. So what I found is I'm using an edible food color marker, and I wanted a really fine tip, and I've only found one of these, and I will link it in the show notes as well. Trace my butterflies onto my wafer paper, I am going to cut these out. And the thing about wafer paper to note is it's not quite as sturdy as regular paper. So you can tell like the texture is a little bit different, but it's easier to cut and make mistakes. So just be mindful of that. So now that my butterflies are cut out of my wafer paper, I am going to start drawing the outline of the details. And again for this, I'm using just a really fine tip edible food coloring marker. And you're gonna see that wafer paper does have like a really smooth side and like a more rough side. And so we're using the textured side for this. And this I'm actually just gonna be freehanding. This is, to me, this is like the art of cake decorating. And so I really enjoy this part, and you definitely have to love what you do, because if you make all of these, it is pretty time consuming. On my butterfly, I am going to work on filling it in with the color. And some of these I know I want to be folded, and I'm going to do this before I do the color, because I'm going to stick them like on the side of the cake so they look like they have a little bit of movement. So I'm just going to fold these. I could even fold one the other way, like it was like flying in the air. So I'm going to color the body with edible food color marker. I'm probably going to go over this with gel food coloring, but for now, I'll use this. And this is thicker. This is the Americolor edible food coloring marker. So even though I would love to be able to use like food coloring that looks like watercolor, like adding like vodka or even airbrush, if you actually do that like I did, these just completely fall apart. So what I'm going to be using is actually powdered blue food coloring to color these. This is the only way I could come up with to color wafer paper without it crumbling. So I have 2 shades of blue food coloring here, powdered blue food coloring, which I will link in the show notes. And I'm just going to paint this on carefully because I don't want to tear my little butterfly. So this food coloring, the powdered food coloring is very messy, that's why I have it on a plate. So I'm adding 2 shades just to make it look, to me, like a little bit more dynamic. You probably could just do 1. You can also tell the powdered food coloring it doesn't come in like a really like dark layer. Like you kind of have to really put several layers, and you have to like kind of press hard with the paintbrush to get it into that wafer paper. So you can see just how delicate it is. Like this one wants to rip, I'm not gonna let it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put blue on all of my butterflies. So now that I have the blue base, I'm actually going to go back in with the edible marker and trace over with black to make it stand out even more. That blue food coloring just kind of makes it look a little bit too light. So I am going back in with my fine food color marker and tracing over some of these original lines. That blue food coloring just kind of makes it look a little bit too light. So I am going back in with my fine food color marker and tracing over some of these original lines. So you can see how much better the black shows up after we kind of go over it again. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in some black with the Americolor gel black food coloring. I didn't water this down at all, it's super thick. And even with that, the edges that I'm painting will curl up a little bit. So after I'm done painting all of these, I will be ready to place them on my cake. So the last thing to do is actually place my butterflies on the cake, and I'm using a little bit of piping gel, and this is how you adhere wafer paper to cakes. So my cake is crusted, and I'm just taking a tiny bit of piping gel and painting the back of the butterfly. And I'm just gonna place these on my cake. And this powdered food coloring will come off, so just be mindful of that when you're placing the butterflies. My wafer paper butterfly cake is complete, and I think it turned out really nicely, and I actually think this would look really cool if this were like a tiered cake and to have the butterflies going, you know, all up the entire cake. But this is like the mini version, and it turned out really cute. And I hope that you guys enjoyed learning this technique and using wafer paper. If you did, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to my channel.